Hey, today we are talking about everything homebrewing a world, what it looks like to homebrew your own world as a DM, or homebrew mechanics for a player. We're also going to talk a little bit about Josiah's new character that we hit on last week a bit, and a bunch of other stuff, as well as, we always do a Monster of the Week. So stay tuned, and let's get into it. Okay, cool. So what's up, dude?
Not much, dude. It's been a pretty chill day.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I am exhausted. I've been driving all over the place today. I don't know why, but I have. But whatever. So yeah, today we're talking about homebrew stuff because we just started a new campaign and it takes place in a new world. It's not the Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk or Eberron or anywhere else. But it's like a brand new homebrewed thing by me. We haven't really started. We've done like a little tiny piece of it, I guess. But I guess we'll figure out how it goes in the next few weeks and report back. But it was fun to design. So we thought maybe we could talk about, homebrewing in general, what it looks like to homebrew, what DMs should consider when homebrewing, worlds and things like that. And stuff like that.
Sweet.
Hi, Brian. Brian Lehman is in the chat.
Oh, what's
one
up,
of our
dude?
players. By the way, we stream this on Twitch every Thursday, so come watch live and you can ask questions and stuff. Anyways, so we'll be careful with what we spoil for
true.
Too.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful with that. Anyways, we let's just talk a little bit first about just homebrewing in general. Homebrewing, if you don't know what homebrewing is, it basically means you're making up your own rules, making up your own place, making up your own weapons, classes, races, whatever it is. D&D does a pretty good job of leaving room for you to do that. Like all of the rules, and for most tabletop role-playing games, it's like this. But for all of the rules, they're very much like, hey, if you don't like something, change it. Or if you want to do something new, do it. And, there's a good kind of format to follow, with the rules when you want to make new stuff. It's very easy to take the rules and kind of change them, or take things like from the Dungeon Master's Guide and just kind of tweak them to make them make them work as a homebrewed thing. So I homebrewed a whole world, and I'm terrified that it goes very poorly, but I'm very excited. I was telling everyone it was like a weird experience on Monday when we did our session zeros. We did a few minutes, probably 15 minutes of actual gameplay, but to hear characters talk about I know you weren't in this group, but we split into two groups of 3, and then next week they'll all come together. But we had Laura's character was talking about the different places she'd been and stuff like that for a little bit. And I was like, that's weirdly cool to me that people are talking about this,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just weird and cool, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's something that you made that, people are interacting with.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a lot of work. There's a lot of things you don't consider.
Right.
The basic being I want to place a town here. And then having to be well, why is there a town there? Why would anyone put a town there?
Having to come up with a whole history for how that town.
Yeah, why that town is where it is, and it's not 20 miles north or whatnot. The politics is its whole thing too. I had to have a political system. For the most part, it's pretty peaceful in the world that you guys are playing in, but there's a little bit of conflict. Same with gods and how everything came about, all that stuff. Yeah, it's just, crazy. Someone in the chat said, "Does the town have public transport?" No. Actually, no, that's not true. They do have public transport. There's a town called
A large
Hillcrest.
communal wagon.
Well,
or
there's
something?
there's a city called Hillcrest, which is on top of a mountain, and it is in the middle of the whole continent, and it's the capital of the continent. And it's in the middle of a jungle called the Feral Wilds, and there is like a public transport system to and from the mountain because of how like dangerous the city is. But it costs a lot of money. Like only rich
Nice.
people do it. The rest have
Gotcha.
to like travel there. But anyways, yeah, but there's definitely a lot to consider. But it's been really
Right.
fun because like you get to just use your creative muscles so much. And the other thing too, like I've said this throughout the whole process, but one thing that I've been really excited for is when we played our last campaign in the Forgotten Realms, there was a lot of things that you guys like wanted to do, places you wanted to go, you know, political systems you wanted to hear about. And unfortunately, like for most of it, I wanted to stay true to the source material. I didn't want to change a whole lot. And so like I'd have to look things up like quickly because I wasn't ready for things. But one thing that's nice about homebrewing stuff is you can just make it up on the fly,
Make
and
it up
that
on
is
yeah.
immediately canon. You can just be like, yes, that is the gray fish, which is the local fish of this place, and everyone loves it. And you know, just go with it. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dude, I'm really excited for that because it's like, yeah, like you do lay out this world, but then, especially being the first campaign that's like running it, like we have a chance to like flesh that out
yeah,
more with you. So it's
yeah,
like an
100%.
extra collaborative element that's gonna
100%.
make it
I mean, that's
a bit
the
more
other.
interesting than the last campaign.
Yeah, that's 100% another thing that has been cool is like, and one reason why I wanted you guys, like everybody in this campaign wrote pretty lengthy backstories. And one of the reasons that I asked you guys for kind of backstories like that, first off, is because I knew like a lot of people wanted to try to do that. But also because I knew it would flesh out the world a lot and give me ideas and
Right.
help me a lot. Because I didn't really know what I was doing or what to add. And I didn't want to make something that you guys were forced to do. So at the beginning, I was kind of like, just do whatever you want and we'll make sure it works. And like fit it in somehow. So yeah, you're right. There's this cool level of like your players being able to flesh it out with you. So like I don't actually necessarily think of it as just like my world. I think of, you know, it's kind of my brainchild, but a lot of the stuff in it is you guys, which is really cool. And I'm very, 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 very excited. For
You throw
what?
one more Very in there?
Yeah, very, very
Yeah,
excited.
gotta top it off.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And I like as I've been, you know, building out this character that I'm so excited to play, I went ahead and arranged with Joe to come up with like some sort of homebrew item like that I kind of made and beyond myself. And it's kind of like my first like, you know, attempt at any kind of homebrew situation, just like making like an item that has
Yeah.
like, you know, its own backstory and significance to the character. That's why I wanted to build it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But
it's cool
yeah.
too. That stuff's fun too. Like yeah, we can talk about items for a bit. Items are terrifying as like a DM. Like I'm always more worried about homebrewing items and spells and stuff like that because I'm just so worried
Right.
it's just going to break everything or like you're just going to be so overpowered and like
Right. Yeah,
and
no,
like
my item's like pretty
yeah,
it's
your
chill.
item's
It's
pretty
not
chill.
yeah.
But like I hadn't like I just don't feel like I'm skilled enough as a DM to know if something's going to be super broken or not. So like I'm
Right.
like really riding on the edge of like I don't know like if you can do that. But like
Yeah,
we
because I'm
we
sure I'm not the
homebrewed.
only one who like
Well, you're the
wanted to
only
have
one
something
that
like that.
homebrewed like a item, I think. But like people all the time, like during the last campaign too, were like, "Can I homebrew this spell? Can I homebrew this
Oh yeah.
whatever?" Um, and like it's just like kind of nerve wracking of like I don't know if you're gonna break everything right now if you do this, but whatever. The other, but like we homebrewed a sword last
Oh
campaign.
yeah, yeah, we did.
one of our characters, her name was Adrielle. She was Asimar. And her mother was good friends with Zariel, the Archduke of Avernus, when Zariel was like a good person, good angel or whatever. And we played through the Descent from Avernus campaign, or Descent into Avernus campaign, and by the end, they ended up redeeming Zariel. And Zariel, basically, Adriel, our player character, had like this big like arc moment of like figuring out who she was as a person and who her mom was and all this stuff. And Zariel told her that she had like a very similar sword as the sword of Zariel somewhere. So like I had to homebrew that, but we have the sword of Adriel now, and you can like use it on D&D Beyond and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The chat threw out a homebrew idea, which was a slingshot of nearly perpetual motion that only does 1 damage, but projectiles move 5 feet a turn in a straight line until they hit something. Sounds fine until the battlefield becomes a bullet hell game.
Hang on,
because
wait.
there's
I
just
have to.
slow-mo. It's just like slow-mo slingshot bullets that like go 5 feet a turn.
You know what? That is more or less kind of how the catapult spell works.
Well, the catapult is
that
like
one that I
immediate
tried.
though.
It's like, yeah, it's like a
But
little.
But he's
This
saying
one is different.
He's
yeah.
saying like every 5 feet, the bullets like travel, and if you get within like the square where the bullets are, you take that damage or something. And so like you just shoot a bunch of them everywhere.
Oh wait,
Honestly,
yeah.
not a terrible idea.
That'd be like, yeah. I'd actually.
In terms of
I'd
like,
want to test that. Like, it like even if it's not with a weapon, like you could be like, there's like a dodgeball game that happens in like a one shot or something, and just like see how that would play out.
that'd be interesting. In terms of like items, I have a few things that like last year or last campaign, we did homebrew a lot of items when it came to one individual. He was an NPC named Pickle.
Oh yeah.
That betrayed the whole group basically by the end of it. But Pickle was a goblin that sold like random trinket items that really didn't do much unless you had them for like the perfect scenario that you like really needed them for. Like he sold like a ring of invulnerability. And so like you put it on and you think like maybe I can't take damage or something, but it's just that the ring cannot take damage. And then he sold like a necklace of teleportation, and when you wear the necklace and think of where you want to teleport to, the necklace teleports there. Or like he had a book, like a diary of something where the journal of noting, a noting journal, I think is what it was called. But it was and like there are things called noting journals that will document everything that a party does, but this was a noting journal that noted and documented everything from the journal's point of view. So it would be like, still in this bag, some person reached in and grabbed the apple next to me. Like I've been in here for 20 days or whatever it is. So like it was like worthless stuff. There were a few things that could help. Like there was a bell that you could ring, or it was like a bell without the ball in it. And if you shook it when a bell somewhere in your area was ringing, then the bell would stop ringing, but it would still make the motion. So like stuff like that, again, very specific, use case, but who knows? But that kind of stuff I'm fine like with making. We had a cloak of billowing that would just billow out every time you could use a bonus action to make it billow in the wind.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. The chat says more DMs need to use assassin's teapots. I want a monk to be addicted to mint tea, but afraid of the bartender and their kettle. I don't know what he's necessarily referring to. Do you know what an assassin's teapot is?
Assassin's teapot.
It's probably just like poison the tea, I'd assume. I don't know.
Guess. Or it's like the tea in it is fine, but like, I don't know. It sounds like there's something wrong with just the.
There's something wrong with the tea.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Oh, it's used. Okay, so the assassin's teapot used to pour a normal drink in one cup and pour another poison drink in the other. Oh, so it's like it's got two, like
Spouts?
no, it's like one spout, but it's got two containers, and one of them is like you cover a hole, I guess, with your finger, right?
Oh,
And
that's
then
interesting.
yeah, like
That's kind
pressure
of
locks the
cool.
one.
I kind of
Yeah,
like that.
that's tricky.
That is tricky. Huh.
That is pretty cool.
An assassin's teapot.
Yeah,
Got
that's what
like
I was
two
looking for. It's
chambers
got
in
two
it.
chambers in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So moving on a little bit, again, you have this cool homebrewed thing. What do you think if you were again? We start on Monday.
Right.
What would you say that you're most excited for in terms of like homebrew content? Is there anything specifically that you're hoping to like see, or like have done, or like learn about from a homebrewed world? Like what
I
interests you the most?
I am excited to well, and the thing that's cool about this campaign is I'm playing an artificer, so it's like a character that's very much inclined to just pushing the limits of like what's possible and like building just all sorts of custom stuff. So a lot that I'm excited about is just like finding almost like pushing the limit of like what Joe will allow, like with just like building stuff.
Yeah, because you're an
Like
artificer.
with characters and yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm just excited to explore like what's possible in that world and just build a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, man.
And
I
that's
have a
kind of
few
like where my
ideas.
character is as well. Like he just is really excited to try things.
Yeah, I have a few ideas
yeah.
for you in terms of building things that I think would be cool.
Yeah, I'm starting to take some notes now on like what because we did a bit of a role playing bit where my character had uh like this tent that had like a bit of a shop in it with a lot of like partially finished or not complete projects, and I
Yeah.
didn't describe them in detail because over time I'm gonna decide what those are maybe
Yeah.
and what they end up being as I work on them. Uh, Particularly the whatever what is that thing called? I get like some sort of battle friend or something that I'm
Oh
working
yeah,
on.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're like little battle companion thing.
yeah. So
Uh
I'm excited for that too to see how that takes shape.
Chat says artificer builds walking symbol monkey
Symbol
filled with
monkey.
gunpowder. That'd be cool. It's like
Dude, 100% I'm
Jinx.
gonna make some ridiculous nonsense as well. Like that's something that I'm excited for too. Like I want to mess around a little bit, just like make
Yeah.
something that's like just
That's like
goofy.
whack. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I think it'll be interesting to see what you come up with. And again, I'm a little nervous because I want to make sure everything's not broken, but
Right.
artificers for the most part have
I'm
like,
not gonna try to
outlines.
like make everyone a grenade launcher, but
Well, maybe we'll see.
we'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's that time. Let's move to. Unless you have anything else to say, I'm gonna. Well,
I don't.
entertain
Let's.
everyone while I grab my book for the monster.
Oh yeah,
Do something cool or
we're
say
doing
something cool.
a monster. What?
Monster
No,
of the day.
we were gonna call this something, right?
Were we?
Yeah. Here's your weekly monster. Your weekly insight check or something like that. We gave it like a really corny.
Here's your insight
We don't have
check.
to do that.
This is your nature check.
This
We'll
is
call it a
your
nature check.
roll a nature check.
Yeah. Okay, this one's short, but interesting. It's called an alkalith. Here's a picture of it. It's kind of covering the whole screen, but that's okay. An alkalith, you can kind of see it. It's like the green like moss stuff on the outside of this. If you're listening to this, we have a YouTube channel. Go check it out, and you can watch this or watch the stream live. You see, it has like eyes and stuff. Anyways,
Oh, dude.
yeah. So, this one's short. An alkalith, typically chaotic evil. An alkalith is easily mistaken for some kind of foul fungal growth that appears on doorways, windows, and other portals. These dripping infestations conceal the demonic nature of the alkalith, making what should be a dire warning appear strange but otherwise innocuous. Wherever alkaliths take root, they weaken the fabric of reality, creating a portal through which even nastier demons can invade. Wow, so you can see there's like a portal in the picture, so I guess that's not like a natural portal. They like made it. The appearance of an alkalith in the world heralds a great wrongness and an imminent catastrophe. An alkalith searches for an aperture such as a window or a door around which it can take root, stretching its body around the opening and anchoring itself with a sticky secretion. Gross. If left undisturbed, the opening becomes attuned to the abyss and eventually becomes a portal to that plane. See planar portals in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Alkaliths spring from the cast-off bits of the hideous, shuddering body of Juiblex, which is in this book. We'll get to that eventually when we get to the J's. They gradually become self-aware and seek to find their way onto the material plane. Since most cultists consider them too risky to summon, they can, after all, create portals to the abyss. Oh, wait, no, that's why. Okay. So because cultists find them a little sketch to summon because they can make portals to the abyss, alkaliths must find other escape routes in order to get out of their native plane. So that's what an alkalith is. Interesting. It's like a fungus that can open portals to the abyss.
Dude,
wow.
Hunter's Mothership one shot gave me just like Moss PTSD, dude.
Yeah,
Can't do Moss.
Yeah, we
can't
played
do any Moss ever.
Mothership. Mothership is another RPG that's like a horror, like space horror. And yeah, we were on this planet and there was a bunch of moss everywhere and it was like creepy.
Yeah, that would have, dude, if that stuff had eyes, I feel like it would have been so much worse.
Probably. Anyways, all right, well, that's a little bit about homebrewing. Quickly, I will say this. My recommendations to DMs trying to homebrew is try and keep it simple. Like, at the end of the day, you know, if you want to have a town there, have a town there. Like, it's fine. You don't have to have a reason for everything. But I do think it's important when, you know, building a world to try and think of all the aspects of it. Who are the people in charge? Why is that place there? And kind of like what is the vibe of the people? What do they do for work? Is it like a theme town? Is it like a bunch of people who fish, a bunch of people who like sports, a bunch of people, and just kind of keep it simple like that. And I will say, last thing, one thing that I did before homebrewing this is I ran like kind of an altered homebrewed setting in the Forgotten Realms. And like I homebrewed like I think a city or two. I think just one. I homebrewed 2 cities. But I kept them really simple, and that kind of helped me for when I decided to take on this big task to just be better at it. Is, you know, I had practice from another campaign and learned quickly what the characters want to learn about those cities and what they want to do in those cities. And kind of just went from there. So it's a lot of work, but it could be really, really fulfilling. And I'm really hoping that you guys don't just butcher it when we start on Monday, but we'll see. We will report back.
Try not to just like skip an entire town.
Well, that's okay. I'm fine if you do that. I'm just worried that you're going to get to a town and be like, well, what is blank, blank, and blank? And I'm going to be like,
burn it down.
Well, I'm just going to have no idea. Like, how to answer your questions. Like you're gonna ask something that I didn't prepare for. Like
Just gonna need like a
what is
name
the
generator.
what is the favorite food of the townspeople here? I'm gonna be like freaking burgers. I don't know. But anyways, all right, bro. That was it.
All right.
Thanks for hanging. Thanks to everybody watching live. Remember, if you want to, subscribe to the channels, they will be live. Actually, technically, by the time we're recording this live, the podcast is not live yet, but it will be soon. And once you're listening to this, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, like the thing, and then maybe watch us live on Thursdays, where you can see us live on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/gunkball. And all the links to everything will be in the description. And you can get involved and talk live with us and talk questions and stuff. So, anyways, Josiah, you got anything to say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.